Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a chit chat video just talking about my makeup shopping experience in South America, specifically Colombia. That is where my family's from, that's where my parents live. My whole family lives in Colombia, my brother lives in Colombia. Basically just me and like two other people in my family live in the US. But I've been going there my whole life, like every other year since I was a baby. I've been there a ton. I've spent a lot of time in Colombia, up to like 5 weeks at a time. But I went for about a week over the holidays, and I specifically wanted to look at different retailers that sell makeup or makeup stores, get some photos of different makeup prices and compare them to the US prices so I can let you guys know the differences and just let you guys know my overall like shopping experience, let you know what I found makeup wise in Colombia. So if you guys want to know all of that and just talk about shopping for makeup internationally, then just keep on watching. Alright, so I probably already said it like 17 times in the intro, but in case you didn't know, I am Colombian. I was born in the US. My parents moved to the US about a year before I was born, and then once I could venture out on my own, like 5 years ago, they moved back to South America. It was their dream to always move back to Colombia. They actually live in my mom's childhood home, and basically my whole family lives in Colombia. I've been going there my whole life, so that is why I went shopping in Colombia. So I've been there a ton. I have a lot of familiarity with like shopping there in general, but specifically in a recent trip I did over the holidays for Christmas, I wanted to look at different makeup retailers and get photos of like different prices of the makeup products that are like US based products and compare them to how much they are sold for in the US. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a background of like different makeup shopping venues in South America, and I did a little Googling. I didn't do too much research, but what I found is for Sephora, the only places in Latin America that there's Sephora is Mexico and Brazil. There's no Sephoras in other countries in Latin America, and Brazil is actually the 4th largest beauty industry in the world after the US, China, and Japan. So anyways, there is a lot of beauty innovation in Brazil that ends up transferring into the US and just globally. And then after Brazil, the other Latin American countries that have a lot of beauty are Mexico, Chile, and then Colombia. Those are like the top 4 countries that have like the biggest beauty industries, or where like most makeup is sold in Latin America. And then in terms of Colombia, the city that you're gonna find out more beauty innovation happening first, like say if they were to ever have a Sephora launch in Colombia, it would likely end up in Bogota. That's where a lot of the beauty industry lies. So while I was there, most of my beauty shopping, well basically window shopping, happened in a lot of department stores, basically like the Colombian version of like Macy's or Belk, and basically looks exactly the same as that. And what I found consistently is that the biggest displays are Benefit and MAC Cosmetics, and especially Benefit had absolutely everything in like 4 different stores, things that were even hard to find in the US, or like I went during the holidays, so like holiday kits that were just launching that week in the US, I found in Colombia. Basically, biggest products that I found were from Benefit, or biggest displays that I found all around were from Benefit Cosmetics, and then also from MAC Cosmetics. Like they had all the current holiday collections. They did not have the MAC Patrick Star holiday collection. I asked for that specifically, and they said that they didn't ship that to Colombia, but all of the other like pretty popular and recent collections were there for those 2 retailers. That's where I found that like the collections were the most complete. And then also one brand that I found that isn't available in the US and I hadn't heard of before is Yuya, and this was like a full line. They had a bunch of different eyeshadow palettes, blush palettes, lipsticks, liquid lipsticks, glosses, everything. And this is a brand from a Mexican YouTuber. She has like 24 million subscribers, I believe. I hadn't heard of her before seeing this in stores, but I swatched a lot of the products and they seemed like very promising, and I specifically wanted to try out this 3-step contour kit. I'm wearing like all the shades today. It's super, super creamy and pigmented. So I was really interested in finding like new products of brands that I couldn't get locally. There were some other brands that I saw in different makeup stores, but they didn't catch my attention like this brand, because I felt like this seemed a lot more popular because I saw it a lot of displays and I saw a ton of products from this brand specifically. And then once I looked her up on YouTube, I'm like, okay, she must be like super, super popular because she has so many subscribers. So I wanted to try it out. And then the other retailer that I visited, and I remember visiting this retailer before, like in years past, is called Blush Bar. And that was like the closest thing to a Sephora. It was more of like a boutique Sephora of all high-end makeup. It's a gorgeous store, and it looks like there's like basically a store in every major Colombian city. And basically that's where I found everything like Becca, Too Faced, Anastasia, a lot of high-end skincare. Even just going through their Instagram this week and like checking out their Insta stories, it's pretty similar to Sephora, like new product launches, just like Sephora. And I like going to that store. It's like really, really pretty. So I was excited to go back there, and I did spend a lot of time there looking at like different makeup prices and taking pictures of everything so I can compare the US price to the Colombian price and let you guys know the differences of how much a certain US makeup product would cost. So I converted the prices of everything to US dollars, and 1 Colombian peso is 0.32 thousandth of a US dollar. That's how much it is. So I'm just gonna tell you how much in dollars it would be in Colombia versus how much it actually is in the US. So first we're gonna start off with the Becca Sunlit Bronzer. In the US, this is $38, and in Colombia, this would retail for $45.80. Next up, the Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation is $36 in the US, and then in Colombia, it would be $44.52. Then the Too Faced Sweetie Pie Bronzer is $30 in the US, and in Colombia, it would be $37.15. You guys are seeing why I didn't end up buying more makeup in Colombia, because all of the makeup that is US based is obviously more expensive. Next we have the Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation from Benefit. This is $29 in the US, and then in Colombia it's $38.40. And the closest in price product that I found is a MAC lipstick. This is $18 in the US, and in Colombia it would be $20.14. And then lastly, some of the drugstore makeup that I found was actually way more expensive compared to US. So this is the e.l.f. Illuminating Palette. This is $6 in the US, and then in Colombia it retails for $15.98. And then I don't have this pack to show you guys, but just another example for drugstore pricing, a brush duo from EcoTools. In the US it would retail for $5.99, and then in Colombia it was double that. It was $12.14. So generally all high-end makeup products were about 20% more in Colombia versus how much they retail for in the US. That's just what I saw overall. And then another thing that I found interesting when I went to the store at Blush Bar, they had like a wall of favorite products and like hot products, hot buys, like basically like the top picks, almost like Sephora does as well. And it's basically the same thing as you would find in the US, like Becca highlighters, Too Faced foundation, Anastasia palettes, all the popular products that are probably the most purchased products right now at Sephora anyways. And then also outside of Benefit or MAC, it was hard to find new makeup releases in Colombia, like products that had just launched in November or December. For example, like the Sultry palette, I could not find that anywhere, and that released sometime in November. Basically, I couldn't find products that were released like that season, like any products from like October, November, December. All of the newest products were products that were like end of summer releases. And then lastly, the only other thing that I ended up buying was random at a little display in the middle of the mall that had a lot of drugstore makeup. And then I found the Maybelline Fit Me in a squeeze tube. So I was really interested in finding products that I'm familiar with different packaging, because I remember the last couple times that I went to Colombia seeing like drugstore makeup that I recognized, but with different packaging or just like with Spanish labels, and I thought that was interesting. So I ended up picking up the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in this squeeze tube, and everything's in Spanish. I'm pretty bad about reading Spanish. I never officially learned to read Spanish. I just read my mom's text. Instagram captions, and then like music video, YouTube comments. So that's like the only reading I do in Spanish. I've never read like a full book or anything. So I always like to get little things in Spanish just so I know like more makeup words. So that is basically the only other product that I ended up purchasing. And I remember it cost me like $7, but just because it was on sale, like they had a pretty decent sale, so it ended up being around what I would pay in the US anyways. Alright guys, that is gonna be everything for this video. I hope you guys found it interesting. I was originally planning on doing more of like a haul when I went shopping, but most of what I found in Colombia were products I could just get in the US and get them in the US cheaper. There wasn't a lot of like products that spoke out to me that were only based in Latin America, at least in the retailers that I went just shopping over the course of like 3 days with my mom. But definitely the next time I go, I will look out for new products or just going to like different beauty locations and hopefully showing you guys more. I don't think I'm going to go this year, but hopefully again next year. I usually go every other year now, especially that I'm married and have to like switch back and forth between US and Colombian holidays, but that's like a whole nother story. But that's gonna be everything for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do live in Latin America, I'd love to know if you can give me a little bit more insight, because a lot of what I just found was me going for a few days or just Googling, and obviously that's not a full scope of what the experience is. And also, if you guys do live internationally, I'd love to know your experience with buying new makeup releases, or just the differences in pricing, or what other international brands are out there that maybe I haven't heard of before or aren't available in the US. So that is everything for today's video. If you guys liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.